Yo, what is going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here. So the top 9 lessons I learned doing Shopify dropshipping in 2020. Now, it is no lie that this year has been absolutely crazy with so many ups and downs, mostly downs that too. It was just a wild year, especially for online business. A lot of the things which were basically unexpected the previous years suddenly came to be, and because of that, just the e-commerce world was greatly affected. A lot of people were basically not able to do dropshipping anymore the way they used to do before, and a lot of people lost their dropshipping stores as a whole just because of what happened this year. Now, just these past few days, I've been thinking about exactly what I learned from all of these things that happened this year and why I was able to do the results that I was able to do this year. If you haven't already checked out my previous video, which I made before this one, go ahead and watch that video after this one. I'll leave the link in the description below. But I did a little over $1 million in sales with just Google ads only for the year of 2020, and that was with just one store. However, the unfortunate thing is not everybody was able to achieve such results when it comes to Shopify dropshipping. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 9 lessons I learned during this year and tell you guys exactly how you can apply them to your own journey so next year is much better for you no matter what happens. But without wasting any more time, let's just jump right into it. The first thing you'll have to do in order to find any kinds of success with these 9 lessons is to first of all destroy that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. They'll automatically boost start your journey on applying these 9 lessons. Okay, hopefully you've done that. But the very first lesson I'd like to go over is related to advertising platforms. Basing an entire business on just one advertising platform is a surefire way to just kill it. And I really learned this year because the previous years, especially in last year, was the year where I was just focusing fully on Facebook ads. I literally had no idea about what Google was, what Bing ads was, or any other platforms. And even if I did, I didn't really use them for my business. Towards the end of the year of 2019, when my ad account got permanently banned from my main Shopify dropshipping store, is when I started to look into these other platforms, is when I started to kind of divert my business into these other platforms. And that is one of the biggest lessons I learned for this year, because if I had stuck to Facebook ads, tried different ad accounts, tried backup ad accounts, it may have worked temporarily, but the fate was going to be the exact same as it was before, sooner or later. So it was best to just diversify. And this is one of the biggest lessons simply because this let me know that I cannot focus my entire dropshipping business on just one advertising platform. And as a result, I started using Google ads, Bing ads, SEO, and I also used some Facebook ads for my new store, but only doing retargeting because I never wanted to just rely on Facebook anymore because of how competitive and how difficult it has become to use that platform. But the same thing goes with Google. Nowadays, a lot of merchant centers are getting banned. A lot of new stores aren't even able to get opened because of these bans. So it is always important to kind of diversify, make sure you're using other advertising platforms so you have backup plans in case something goes wrong with one ad account or another. But that is definitely one of the biggest lessons I learned in 2020. Let's move on to lesson number 2, and that is when others think it is a bad time to get into Shopify dropshipping or just the e-commerce world, start immediately or increase your budgets for your store. Now, what do I mean by this exactly? Well, during the lockdowns and whatever was happening late February, early March, a lot of people who were planning on going into dropshipping or Shopify kind of backed out simply because they thought that is not a good time to get into dropshipping. Maybe people don't have enough money. Maybe people don't want to buy anymore and save more money, etc. And what happened was they lost a very, very good opportunity. From my own experience, what I can tell you is that I did the most amount of sales during those days when everybody thought things were going down, nobody was going to purchase anything, than I did in any of the other time of this year. And to be specific, I was doing over $10,000 per day in sales during that time period. If I had just kind of listened to what these people were thinking, maybe lowered my budgets because I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, I would have lost out on a lot of sales and I would have not been able to do over 7 figures this year with my Shopify store. So what I'm trying to tell you guys, and this is one of the biggest lessons as well, is whatever other people, especially in the Shopify dropshipping space, are saying, do the exact opposite. If they say lower your budgets, go ahead and start increasing your budgets, add more products. If they say increase your budgets, maybe it's a good time to kind of lower your budgets because people always follow the hype. If some big YouTube guru or whatever says lower your budget, stop trying to sell online right now, and a lot of people are going to follow that, so that leaves you a lot more room to kind of go in and take over the market space, take their lost sales. So that is one great thing to always be doing. And again, always do the opposite of what these other people are saying. Now, I'm not saying this is always going to be 100% right. Of course, do your research, really see if that is what you should be doing. But in my own experience, doing the opposite has worked out just fine. But that is definitely another lesson I learned, especially this year. Let's move on to lesson number 3, and that is quick success has really no value compared to long-lasting success. Now, this kind of applies directly to Facebook ads versus Google ads, where a lot of people on my YouTube videos also comment that the amount of sales I did in the entire year could be done much quicker in half the time with Facebook ads. And that is definitely true, and that is possible. However, if you look at majority of the people, and this is not everybody, but majority using Facebook ads or doing those kinds of sales within a short period of time, usually their chart goes up and then it comes right back down, sort of like a bell curve. And that is what I refer to as quick success. I've had that happen to me myself. I've done a lot of sales with Facebook ads only, and I definitely do respect that platform. However, I personally nowadays believe that that is a good way to achieve quick success, but not long-lasting success. In my opinion, if you really want a long-lasting dropshipping business, if you want to do this for a long time, simply try and adapt to the different advertising platforms. Maybe use Google ads, Bing ads, and just do organic searches or SEO techniques, and try to incorporate those into your business than just doing Facebook ads. Because again, if you're looking for a quick success, and nowadays that's not even quick anymore because of the struggles that a lot of people face with Facebook, go ahead and do what majority of the people do, which is just use Facebook. However, again, the main reason why I decided to stick to Google and 99% Google only is because I want something that's going to last a little bit more and long term compared to Facebook ads. But definitely that is one of the biggest lessons I learned during 2020. Let's move on to the 4th thing, and that is don't try to do everything yourself. Before 2020, I was the main person doing everything. I was doing the ordering, I was doing some sort of customer service, I was doing SMS for my store, and this really took a big toll on me because literally I was the only one doing it. Even though I had workers, I just didn't have enough time to do the things I wanted to do or the time to kind of move my business forward. So I was kind of running around in a circle and not growing my business. So that is another lesson I learned in 2020. It really is okay if you spend a little bit more money on trying to save your time, because your time is invaluable. It doesn't have a price to it. There's a lot of calculators out there which you can search up on Google, which lets you basically calculate how much each hour of your time is worth. For me, it's roughly $200. So anything that I can outsource for less than that, I will go ahead and outsource, because I really don't want to waste my time. I want to keep on growing my business and keep on doing the things which will help grow my business. But that is definitely one of the biggest lessons of 2020, which is don't try to do everything yourself. Just outsource if you have the money or the budget or the income coming in. But let's move on to the 5th lesson I learned, and that is shipping from China is really no longer a viable option. Now hold on, before you exit out of this video thinking that I'm saying don't dropship anymore, just hear me out. Shipping from China is no longer a viable option. However, what you can do is on AliExpress, if you just click the ships from button and choose United States, you can find majority of the same items that you would find by shipping from China. So that is kind of an alternative to shipping from China. Just go ahead and ship from the United States. Alternatively, you can also use eBay or any other website out there that ships from the US to kind of do drop shipping in 2021 and onwards. But definitely shipping from China is no longer a viable option, simply because of what the world has come to when it comes to big service providers providing fast service like Amazon and eBay sellers and a lot of the other big stores like Walmart and Home Depot and Target, etc. So we can't really match their speed. However, we want to increase our own speed and try to be a somewhat better option for the people, so that you actually end up building a sustainable business. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to do anything noteworthy with your dropshipping store. But definitely try to find other ways to ship rather than just shipping from China. And that is again another lesson I learned during this year. Let's move on to the 6th lesson on my list, and that is social media presence is a key to any kind of store. Now, this was not the case before. Before, I would say that if you just post once or twice and just let it run, that was going to be okay. Nowadays, what people do, majority of the customers at least, is they go on the website, then they look for the social media icons to click on to see if there is kind of any presence for the store on social media. If the answer is no, they're much more likely nowadays to not continue with their purchase and not browse on your store. So in order to kind of avoid that, just create social media accounts, maybe hire a social media marketing manager to kind of handle that for you. Or if you want to save money, just post once a day or a couple of times a week to let the action keep on flowing, so people are sure that your website is a real website and you kind of stand out of the crowd, because majority of dropshippers really don't pay much attention to their social media pages. But definitely another lesson I learned during this year. Let's move on to the 7th lesson on the list, and that is know your numbers. A very simple lesson, but one of the most powerful lessons you can learn from this video. Knowing your numbers means knowing how much money is going out for products, how much money you're paying for your employees, how much money is going in transaction fees, etc. If you don't know these numbers, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to file your taxes come tax season, but also to scale your store, because if you don't really know if you're profitable or not, how do you really consider spending extra money on ads or spending extra money on other things which can grow your business? So it's really important that you know your numbers, know what you're doing with the advertising costs and all of your other costs, so that you can scale profitably and not just end up losing money. Because there's a lot of stories out there which are unfortunately very sad, where people do 6 figures in sales, but they're actually negative profit instead of positive profit. In fact, I just read a comment in my Facebook group, which you can join for free, the link is in the description below, regarding this happening. But definitely know your numbers, one of the biggest lessons of 2020. Let's move on to our 8th lesson on the list, and that is use special templates to deal with chargebacks to win more of them. Now, I've made a video on this on my channel, which you can check out, where I go over the exact template you can use. It's really easy for a lot of dropshippers to just waste a lot of money with these disputes because they don't know how to answer them. So they either end up accepting the dispute or just coming up with a 5-second response to these disputes. And that is a surefire way to just not win any of them. There is a special strategy that you can use to win these disputes. Disputes are extremely important because not only do they determine the account health of your payment gateway, but also determine whether you're profitable in the end or not, because these disputes are not free. They charge an extra fee on top of whatever the refund amount you have to give. Sometimes it's $15, sometimes it's up to even $30, depending on the total transaction amount. So definitely know how to deal with these disputes so you don't end up just unnecessarily throwing away money, because that is extra fees going outside of your pockets. But let's move on to our final lesson, which I learned, which is again another important lesson for the year, and that is offer customer service on additional platforms. It doesn't mean just offer service on just emails, because that is literally what everybody does. What you want to do to stand out is maybe sign up for a free SMS software like GoogleVoice.com, or sign up for other paid ones which offer SMS messaging. Now, I offer SMS messaging. I have a phone number on my website which people can reach out to. However, I have clearly mentioned in the Contact Us page that we do not accept phone calls, only offer service through SMS. And this lets people know that we are not going to accept phone calls. So if you're kind of worried about answering the phone all day, you can simply do this trick to make sure nobody really reaches out to you via phone calls, but just messages you. And this works really great because you're able to provide much faster service. People are able to trust you much more. But this was my top 9 lessons of what I learned in 2020. If you found any type of value in this video, destroy that like button and destroy that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.